Welcome, one and all, from across the country. Today is March 21st, 2016, and this is Mastermind Call number 71.
It's April.
What did I say?
March.
Did I say March? Oh, see that? You're a month ahead of me. April 20. Time flies. April 21st, 2016, and this is Mastermind Call number 71. We've got a really good turnout. We have one person in the queue, and we're going to share with you a little more news than normal. The three partners got together over the last 3 days. Once a quarter, we all get together, and we do a kind of a brainstorming session to just figure out how we can make this better. So that's all four partners got together. Yeah, thank you, Tim. The four partners got together up in Cocoa Beach, Florida. We just came back, and we got some ideas we run by all of you today, and this may be a good opportunity for some of you to kind of participate in a pilot program of some of the new ideas we're going to roll out. We still, though, are going to have plenty of time for questions. So the person who's in the queue now, ending in 3199, please be patient. And anybody else that would like to get in the queue for questions, please do so. Hit *6 and then hit 1. Tim, I'm going to go ahead and give them just maybe a 5-minute overview of some of the new things, and then please jump in if you have anything you want to add.
That'd be fine. The guy that's hanging out there on the phone with you, I believe is that I think I know who that is, and probably is going to want to talk about one of the things that we just talked about. So go ahead. Okay,
excellent. One of our core values, and you've probably heard us talk about this before, we borrowed this from our partner Chad, but one of our core values is provide value first. And we really do. It may sound a little corny, guys, but we really try to do that in everything we do. We know if we can make this process better for you, make you more successful, in the long run, you're going to stay with us a lot longer, and we're going to have happy customers, and that's what we want to do. We want to grow this business the right way. So everything we do, we look at it from the perspective of what do our customers want, and how can we provide the most value. And what's kind of interesting, the answers to both questions are usually one and the same. But at this last summit, we had a couple instances where we kind of came up with different answers to those two questions. And one of them, as all of you, any of you that have been on the call know, somewhere between 70 and 90% of the estates nationwide have real estate attached to them. And we've had a number of requests from our agents, from you guys, to only give you the leads that have real estate in them and not give you the others. And we've always taken the position that this is such a unique niche that every conversation you have with anyone is a branding opportunity, a chance for you to let them know that this is your specialty, and you never know where new business is going to come from. But that's one of the first things we talked about, and we were looking at ways to screen the leads to just, deliver you the ones with probate, and we determined it was going to make the leads more expensive, but that we could do it. And then, because we know a lot of you want it, then we asked the question, is that really providing you with the most value? And kind of an interesting exercise I'd like to do with all of you. Just imagine that your great Aunt Tilly died, and she left you an estate. There was no real estate in it, but she left you assets, bank accounts, stocks, bonds, that were worth about $175,000, because that is the average probate in the country is $175,000. So whether there was real estate in that estate or not, what is the first thing you think you would do with the money? And I know you're all going to answer that question a little bit differently. If you're younger, you're going to have a different answer depending on your financial situation. I'm sure some of you said, I'd go buy that Mercedes, BMW, or Ferrari, or I'd go buy myself a boat or an expensive toy. But I'll bet a significant number of you, and I would guess at least a third of you, probably said, I'm going to go buy myself a nicer home. So look at it from that perspective. If you're prospecting and you talk to someone locally and right away they say there's no real estate in the estate, what do you think the odds are that that person might take those funds and decide to upgrade their home? So they, just because because there's no real estate in that probate, you may be on the phone with a very good candidate that might be interested in listing their existing home and upgrading to a much nicer one. So rather than try to screen out those opportunities, we said, let's go back and really discuss this with our clients. And maybe you get in that situation, you just ask them an extra question, say, well, this is Sally with RE/MAX right down the street. I specialize in helping people that are executors of estates. If you don't mind me asking, with the funds from the proceeds when the probate is settled, do you have any plans on buying or selling any other real estate locally? I think you guys might be surprised if you just ask a couple extra questions, how often you will have a really highly motivated person there that all of a sudden has some extra money to spend. Tim, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually part of the conversation that I literally just got off right before we got on this call, and it was one of our subscribers, and the conversation that we had was about this particular topic, that whether we're scrubbing them or you're scrubbing them, the question was, do I just go ahead and send all my letters out? And Chad has always been a proponent of doing that, and we've always said a 3-touch program, and you sometimes look at it as, well, you're a chronic prospector and you like to go do that, so you want to make all the phone calls. And I was on the phone with someone earlier who is getting well over 100 leads in their county, and they're trying to cut their numbers down and try to do some other stuff. And that was this exact point, that if the first letter that you send out is a bit more generic and you touch on all of the things that you're doing, you follow that up with a phone call, and what you find is exactly the circumstance that Jim said, that in fact that person there is probate, or there is property, or there isn't in the deal. The next letter that you go out to that person with, if you find that there isn't property in the probate, but it's a circumstance that Jim said, through what you find out, that person is going to inherit 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever out of this when the probate finally closes. Through your good questions, we're going to give you a tool to deal with that. And also, and already started today as part of the comeback to this, create another branch of your mailing to change those people and let them start getting a sell and buy listing letter for inherited people who are getting some extra dough. So good things going on.
And Tim, the only thing I would add to that is, 10 or 20,000 would be a very small estate. The average is about 175,000.
Yeah, exactly. So, if they're the sole heir for an estate, they got plenty of dough to get it done. But anyway, the point being that we're going to try and literally make it so that whether we're going out, and our intent is to come back to you and say we can give you the leads the way we're giving them to you right now. We can, if you order it up, take the next step and take the next, there's additional cost of doing it because it takes more time to go do it. We'll proof it out, try to find if there is in fact real estate owned in there, and whether there is or isn't, we'll determine what your mailing sequence looks like to go out to them. And that was kind of part of that conversation. So kind of a cool.
Excellent. And then just to follow that up a little bit further, I think we actually went on to another topic, and I kind of had a blinding flash of the obvious. I said, well, wait a minute. Depending on the market you're in, there's going to be anywhere from, 10 to 50% of the people that are going to be local, and the rest are going to be somewhere else. And we realized, we got into a conversation, well, doesn't the same apply to that person who's cross-country who just was the executor of an estate? And interesting conversation followed, and about an hour later, we came to the conclusion that we could, if any of y'all are interested, or if any of our existing clients are interested, we could actually just sort the data differently. And we could, if you're in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we could actually give you a list of the contact info for the executors that are in Grand Rapids that had estates located elsewhere. So it would be the same conversation. Mr. Johnson, this is Sally down the street at RE/MAX. I noticed you were the executor of an estate down in Florida. I specialize in helping people that are executors of estates, and I was just wondering, when the estate is settled, do you have any interest in buying or selling any real estate here in Grand Rapids? Now, the really unique thing about that is I pretty much guarantee you that there is going to be nobody else making that phone call to these people at your market. Any of you that think that you might have an interest in doing that, this is going to be just kind of our test project for this call. Tim, do you want to send an email directly to you or to support?
Send it to support.
Anybody who would.
Yeah, send it to support.
Okay, so just send an email and put executor info on your email and send it to support@alltheleads.com. And then, Tim, do you want to go over the divorce versus marriage, or you want to save that for the next call?
Oh, I think you can go ahead and just touch on it.
All right. The second realization that we had, from the beginning, we're a transitional lead company, so it was never our intent to just provide probate leads. We want to provide everything that we possibly can in unique niches and unique seller lead sources for you guys. And we always thought divorce was going to be the next category. The more we look into it, a large percentage of the counties in the U.S., nothing is filed on the divorce until it's final. So we started asking ourselves the question, is that really soon enough to get the information? And we kind of came to the conclusion, by the time the divorce is final, most of these people... What's that?
The Geico. They have thousands of license agents.
Sorry.
What's that, Tim?
I said, sorry. One of my windows popped up on my screen all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to add something.
No.
So anyway, we did a survey with y'all about 6 months ago, and the next category that behind divorce. Now, we're not giving up on divorce, but it looks like by the time the data comes in, it's not going to be as useful as we thought. The next category that many of you requested was marriage. That is something that we can provide relatively quickly, and a marriage certificate is filed for at the courthouse, as soon as they make plans to marry. So now with marriage, it'll be interesting because there'll be times when you'll have two people that'll have properties they want to sell and buy another one. You may have first-time home buyer, young people that have never owned anything before. I know when I got married, my wife was divorced and she was living in, her previous home. Well, I could have moved in there, but I really wanted to go find our own home. And that is the case a lot with marriage. So it's a little bit of a different niche. There will be some buyer leads, but there will also be some seller lead opportunities there also. So again, if anybody is interested in obtaining marriage leads or think you might be, we can investigate it for your county. Just send an email to support@alltheleads.com and reference marriage. And Tim, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think the important point here is, as Jim said, we just came from a quarterly summit. We're doing these every quarter. We literally feel like it's necessary to sit eyeball to eyeball and literally take everything apart. And we've done it every single quarter. This was actually our 5th meeting, and we sort of take the company apart, look at what's doing well, what's not doing well, how can we offer a better value to our folks. And these are just a few of the things that came out of it. I spent the majority of our morning working with our development side on the new subscriber area, the new website, and all the new pieces that we're bringing out for you. And you're in for some surprises in terms of what we're going to give you to be able to work with these leads. But I'm going to reserve that for next week because we're actually intending to kick it out the door at the end of the month. So we'll probably be looking for some beta testers.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for your patience and letting us talk a little bit longer than usual. We do have 2 questions in the queue. And again, anyone else who would like to join in, just hit *6 and then hit 1, and we'll go to our first person in the queue. Area code that ends in 3199, you're up.
Yeah, I haven't signed on yet. My name is Jim, and I'm from Florida, and actually on the Gulf Coast, about the middle of the state. And I've been mulling this around, and pretty sure I'm going to go with it. But I was wondering about how many of the clients actually use the custom website that you have. Our company is actually going to start furnishing a website of our own, and it would be paid for. If you could answer that question for me, please.
Okay. Well, sure. Here's the deal. If you are putting out and you are focusing on probate, the entire premise of the website itself is to set you up as an expert in the eyes of your potential clients as someone who fully understands what they're dealing with, who understands probate, who understands all the pieces. In addition to that, it's also a recruiting site to help you work with the attorneys that you may be working with and all of that. So it's designed to help you build your business. Now, the commitment that you make to building your business is kind of up to you. It's just like, having us do the letters, having us do all this. Putting it all on autopilot means that you focus your time and energy on talking to customers, and that's why we set it up that way. Our most successful people and the people that are doing this in general are, in fact, people who have the website, who definitely have us do the letters, and they simply do exactly what we said. They, month after month, they just simply, the letters come in, they know the calls that they're dealing with, they deal with it, put it out there. It has a huge area on the website itself that is very similar to what we put on the front of our website on all the leads, which is a set of frequently asked questions about probate. These are the things that differentiate you in the marketplace, but you kind of have to make those choices. Were I you, it's a pretty small price to pay to get a top quality site. And what we do is we link it back to, if you're getting a website from your company, you can link it back directly to that website, and vice versa. From that website, you'll want to link to, if you're, for example, you've got a link on there that says, if you're checking with me and you have a probate question or probate issue or potential real estate property in probate, click here. That takes them to your probate site. On your probate site, please visit our regular website for lots of information on the traditional services we offer. Takes them back to the other websites. So you've got them both there, and you just look like a star.
Yeah, I can see that that website built specifically for that would obviously be the way to go with it. That's kind of what I thought it might be anyway. And okay, well, thank you very much.
No problem. Appreciate you doing it, and we'd love to have you join us. So get on with it today. There's no time like the present, my friend.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. We have one other person in the queue. We have time for at least 3 or 4 guys. Please, any questions about anything we mentioned, anything we talked about today? Nothing's off limits. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. And we'll go to the next person in the queue. Phone number ending in 6108. You're up.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Gary Moore. I'm a broker and investor in the metro Atlanta area. And first, I just wanted to give kudos to Tim. I've been in communication with him over the last couple of days. I'm new to the system, and I'm looking to make sure that I get all my ducks in a row. So when I do launch, we hit the ground running. I've had a phenomenal response from not just Tim, but also Jim as well when I was first looking into this opportunity. And my question is, Tim had touched a little bit on, I guess, what I would call business intelligence, segmenting out some of these leads that may not be holding real estate or, some other specific target within the probate leads. And my question is, I have a CRM system now for my real estate business. Is there a CRM that you guys either are developing or one that you would recommend that's somewhat out of the box that would help in the process of either managing the leads as they come in, or outbound, daily work plans, calls, reminders, things like that within the system that you have available now?
Okay. Well, I'll take that one as well, and I appreciate you getting on the call. It's nice. Always a pleasure to work with somebody who's aggressive and getting after it. In fact, I alluded to that earlier on the call, and I won't bury myself in all the details because we're in the very nascent stages of doing this. But what we will be rolling out the day that we roll the website itself out, our new website, and specifically the new subscriber area, is in fact a presentation of every lead that you have with the ability for you to flag it based on the status, whether it's hot lead, whether it's a cold lead, whether there's property in it, not property in it, and also schedule a follow-up to plot to your calendar and all of that. Basically a CRM Lite specifically focused on probate, and the ability to put notes in, and you can obviously make it so that when you log in every day to that, it's going to remind you, and the intent ultimately is to give you an email every morning of anything that you've set up for things that you need to follow up that day. So to answer your question, we're definitely going to give you a way to work that, and we're well on track to do that and have that all rolled out before the end of the month. So we're pretty excited about that.
So here's a follow-up to that. Do you anticipate having synchronization with Google Apps?
Well, here's the question. For what? And the reason I'm asking that is, what would you want to, what we're going to let you post it to Google Calendar. That's one of the links that will be on it. So if you want to post the follow-up to your Google Calendar, is that what you meant?
Perfect. Yeah, we use Google Apps for business. So we've got the whole, Google suite, Gmail, Calendar, Drive, things like that. And we've found most of the software that we use that's third party also synchronizes with Google Apps, which really, gives us an integrated platform. And, I live and die by my calendar, but because my calendar synchronizes with my mobile phone and my tablet and my desktop. So I've always got my calendar available to me, and it's helpful for myself and my agents. We all share calendars, so I know when somebody's busy and somebody's not. And being able to sync those follow-up calls into what I would call a daily work plan for the team is crucial.
I agree. We feel the same way. And if you're not using Google and you're using iCal, for example, on a Mac or another one, as long as it subscribes to that interface, we'll put it out as an iCal or to your Google Calendar. So whether you're using, as Gary is using Google for it, or you're doing it on your own in another structure, trying to give you every possible way to be able to use what you're using and still interface directly to this. And again, strictly focused on probate.
Perfect. That answered my questions. Again, just kudos to the support that I've received so far. We're looking forward to kicking off our first Mailbox Motivator campaign by the end of the month, and looking to start raining some seller leads.
All right, bud. You go get them. That's great. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. I'll send you the check soon.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of the four partners. He lost me at computers, so I mean, the good news is, guys, you don't have to know virtually anything, how to do virtually anything he talked about. We've got a really good team here that'll help you figure it out if you don't know how to do it. We have one more question in the queue, and we probably have time for an additional one. If there's anyone else that wants to get in line last today, just hit *6 and then hit 1. In the meantime, phone number ending in 6335, you're up.
Oh, hey, this is Todd, excuse me, in Stuart, Florida, part of the Affinity team with Donald White.
Hey, Todd.
We actually went to the courthouse today. I was talking to Jim earlier. We actually went to the courthouse in Stuart today, and we went to the probate section, and we asked them if we understood that we could get like 5 recent probate things that had been scheduled, and they looked at us like we asked them for some Chinese food. When we explained what we wanted, that we wanted to get some probate openings that had happened recently, she said, I have no idea what you're talking about. So she called upstairs to IT, and they said, oh, well, everybody's in Gainesville and we don't know what to tell you. So I still don't know, and I don't have any answer, but it was kind of, we walked out scratching our heads saying, what in the world was that?
Thank you, Todd. The reason I asked him to share that, Todd was on a webinar that we did about a month ago where we really taught agents how to do this themselves if they wanted to. And Todd, I think we had 5 agents that said they were going to go down to their courthouse, and every single one of them, included you, signed up with us after the first trip to the courthouse. And I wanted you to stop. They're not very user friendly, are they?
Well, they're not. I feel sorry for them because they didn't even understand our question.
Yeah.
And we had signed up already when we asked about that. It was the next day. We said that the day before, and the next day we signed up. But then we wanted to go, excuse me, just to understand the process.
Right.
And just be familiar with the people there in case we had a question on something. And, But gosh, I don't know. We're going to have to figure this out because we did everything according to the way the seminar went.
Yep. Well, good for you. Fortunately, we send people there that do know how to navigate through the maze, and
Yep.
there aren't too many differences in Florida. If you have any questions you can't get through your local courthouse, just and that goes for any of you on the call. Any time you have anything you need any help with, the quickest way to get an answer, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com and be very specific about what your question is, and one of us will usually get back to you within a few minutes. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. I've had people say, aren't you worried that the courthouses around the country are going to get automated and get their act together? And I always remind people that the courthouses are an extension of the government, and no, I don't think the government or any of their branches are going to get too organized or too efficient or do anything very well anytime in the foreseeable future, unfortunately. So I think.
But if I went into a and I asked them where's your copy paper, and they looked at me and said, we don't know what copy paper is. That's about the way it affects.
Yeah, that was somebody who was working in the probate division of the courthouse, right?
Yeah, Donna kept looking at me, and I looking at her, and said, "Geez, I don't know what to say." We didn't know what to ask.
I love it.
What for? We'd like to see some recently filed probate cases. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway,
interesting. Well, fortunately, you don't need them anymore. But thank you for sharing that with the group.
Yep.
Good call, guys. We kept right at 30 minutes. Tim, anything you want to add in summary, or anything you want to add in?
No, great call, and we're excited about the next quarter. We've got a lot of good things coming, and excited to be doing great things with you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us on the call, and see you next week.
Excellent. And again, if you're interested in either of the new ideas that we had, just send an email to support@alltheleads.com. I always like to close these calls by challenging you. Take one idea, one thought, one thing you heard on today's call that inspired you. Go out and put it into action, put it into practice, and come back next Thursday and share it with the group. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Make it a great week. We'll talk to you next Thursday.